Hi guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to replace the brake cables on a Toro Groundsmaster 4700D. And the service manual didn't give much for instructions, and I couldn't find any YouTube videos on it, so I had to figure it all out myself in our fleet here, since we have two of these machines. Okay, so how this is set up is, show you guys a brand new cable. Okay, this is the brand new cable here. And this is the end that goes down to your wheel. And then this is the end that goes up to your brake pedal. So now here we are down at your brake pedal. And the big thing about the 4700Ds, how they differ from the like our Toro 5410 and our Toro 5210 and all those, they all have dry brakes. So you just replace the brake shoes, it's not that bad. Well, here, this has wet brakes in it, so you have to actually pull apart the planetary and you have to drain all the fluid out and replace the discs. So today I'm just going to replace the cables, and it probably won't work. You're always supposed to replace the cables and your brake pads at the same time, but this is what we're doing here. So here's the bracket, and this here was sitting in here like this. Your jam nut goes on the inside there, and you have to get, so you would actually take off this jam nut here, and right here, this spring, that's called your compression spring, and then this is the cap that holds it. You would go ahead and you would remove this here, and then you can put on your compression spring, and then you can fit your cap over after you get it on there. Just because, and you will, yeah, you guys can't see the cable. You have to compress it or whatever, but this will just slide right over that. So the first thing I had to do for removing the old one, everything was pretty corroded. I blew it all off with compressed air, and I backed off this jam nut, which you'll only get to back off maybe like 2 turns or whatever. And then at that point, this here, you can go ahead and start loosening it. Start loosening it towards the back of the machine, and that's the same piece on the new one. And once you have it all the way loosened, it will still be butted up against there like really tight. And what I ended up having to do was I went to Harbor Freight and I bought their 3-pack set. Oh no, this isn't Harbor Freight. This is Menards here, the Master Force ones. Well, they had a 3-pack set of pry bars here, and I used 2 of the pry bars to pry on the top and the bottom of this spring, and it was not easy, you guys, to get that spring back, but eventually I got it back far enough that I could just, was able to just turn this out of the way so it wasn't up against the bolt anymore. And then at that point was the real fun part, trying to compress this spring here to get this little cap off of here. And what I did is with these Master Force Menards pry bars, I used the medium-sized one here, and I pried like this here. I had it up against the hub over by this stud here, and it took a lot of different tries to maneuver it enough that I was totally able to pull all 4 and where I grabbed onto it was right here, right after the first compression spring there. And I was able to pry it back far enough that there was absolutely nothing touching this ring here. And then I was able to rotate the ring with my other hand and then just push it out onto the ground. It just fell out. And then right here, you have a jam nut on the inside here. And that is this jam nut right here. And actually this round piece here actually goes through your frame there. And I couldn't see that at that time. So, that jam nut was so rusted on mine, there's absolutely no room to get a wrench on it for the open end anyways without cutting the cable or anything. And I tried metric wrenches and SAE, and I couldn't get any of them to go on there. So what I ended up doing was I took a 4.5-inch grinder here with a cutoff wheel, and I just went ahead and I cut the cable here. And then that way, because at that point I wanted to build a slide on a box end wrench here, just because I knew the cable was garbage, you know, they're stretched, and throw it away then. So I cut that and I slid in my box end of the wrench, and that still did not work. So what I ended up doing was I took that 4.5-inch grinder, and this here was like this, went through here, and I put the 4.5 grinder right here, and I went and cut it right off, cut as much as I could, and then I just grabbed on this side here and was able to wiggle it and pull it right out. And if it would have been too tight, I would have just taken a punch and just punched it right through there. But that's how I got that out of there. So now my next step with this new one here is going to be, I'm just going to unscrew this off of here, take this end cap off here. It's just rubber. You just use a flathead screwdriver to pry it back. And then I will go ahead and put it up into there. Then I will fit the compression spring on there and compress that again. And actually, before I do anything with the compression spring, actually, I would put this into there, because I've done the 5410s and the 5210s now, and I found out that you don't want any extra tension on this inner cable inside of there, because you're going to need that to be able to move your clevis here to get the pin and the cotter key in it. So get that stuff up by your brake pedal hooked up first before you hook in the compression spring, and screw this piece into there, and that'll be your last step or whatever. And then you'll tighten this jam nut. And I don't have any room to show you guys the brake pedal, so you guys will just have to watch my videos on replacing the brake cables for the 5410s and replacing brake cables for 5210s of how to replace this here. So if you guys like this repair content for Toros, like, share, and subscribe. All right, take care.